Welcome to you all. As you all know, this channel has a USP, and that is an event of retirement. Few videos about retirement have been watched thousands of times on this channel. And today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Rajesh Minocha. He is a man from business and finance, and he has been on Z Business. He has published his articles in Mint and TOI. He has recently authored his first book, an awesome book. So we welcome here Mr. Rajesh Minocha. And in this context, it is very relevant to talk to somebody who published a book on the issue of such an important issue of retirement. So welcome, Mr. Rajesh.
Thank you, Mr. Nigam. I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, I am fine. And how about you?
Yes, all going on good.
First of all, let me congratulate you on this endeavor of yours, authoring first book. Really a challenge for many people I've talked to. Why, of all the topics, you chose this topic of retirement for writing the book?
Retirement is something which is generally in India seen it more in a negative sense, actually. You know, that once a person has retired, the person is not of any use, etc. And it's a burden to the society. That's the kind of things what we have it in India, a kind of a sense. So I felt that we need to change that. And we have seen that globally things are changing. People are now seeing retirement as financial freedom. They are not looking at retiring and doing nothing. So then I felt more and more people should know about retirement, where we are not seeing retirement to be retiring from work. We still continue to work, but now we work based on our passion. And I thought the best way to start would be to speak about my own story in terms of how I worked for 21 years in the corporate sector and then decided to retire at the age of 45 years. That's when my financial goals were achieved. And then I said that now I'll do what I want to do.
Well, just in brief, could you tell me the gist of the book which you have written and what meaning you want to convey out of it?
You know, now I help people on achieving financial freedom, because whatever I have done, I want more and more people to do it. So I got into that passion wherein I help people on their personal finances, etc. But then I was thinking that, you know, the kind of challenges I had, the kind of midlife crisis which most people go through, I realized a lot of my clients are also going through it just now. So then I felt that if I write a book, I'll be able to reach out to more and more people, because otherwise my thoughts will be restricted only to my clients. So that got me to start thinking about writing this book. So first I start with my own journey. And then after that, I speak about the non-financial aspects of retirement. A lot of times people think of retirement only as having enough money, the corpus, which will take care of their last 20, 30 years of their lives. But what I wanted to speak about is that there is no retirement age. You can retire even early from job if your finances allow it. And that's the time when you can figure out what you want to do. So my book talks on the non-financial aspects of retirement, more on those things. It talks about, are we really ready to retire? What are the various things which we have to look at before we can actually say that now I can retire? Well, what is the checklist associated along with it? What all other things we have to ensure that we have done? Then pros and cons of early retirement. Do you really want to retire, or do you still want to do the job? Especially if you're liking the job, what you're doing, you don't need to retire. Then I speak about the retirement related mistakes, what a lot of people have done in the past. I speak about some 14 major mistakes in my book. And then eventually I end with one chapter on finance, which helps in calculating how much of the corpus you really need for retirement. So I speak about the different parameters which we have to look at it. And then we arrive at that numerical figure in terms of how much money do we really need, and then we can retire.
Well, generally in India and in our culture, when we say the word retired, a picture comes in mind where you see a old person. So, I mean, that is what I suppose generally, if not everybody, but by and large people in India will think. What is your age? I'll just like to ask. And how do you relate? You were able to relate yourself with the word retirement.
So my age is 52 years,
Okay.
and I got financially free at the age of 45 years
Okay,
because
great.
I have been a good saver. Yeah, I wouldn't say a good investor earlier. I have also made a lot of financial mistakes. Being from a finance background, I've made mistakes, so then I can understand people who do not understand finance, how many mistakes they can make. But then because I've been saving money, and later, when I realized what are the mistakes I've done, I did my certification. I'm a CFP by profession, also certified financial planner. So then I rectified my mistakes and then I worked towards it. So retirement now should not get seen as somebody who's retired from work. That's the conception which we have to change. Because even if, say, somebody retires at the age of 60 years also, that there is still 20 to 30 years life after that remaining. Life expectancy in India is now going up. And not doing anything and just saying that I've retired, watching television the whole day or just sleeping, that's not what retirement is all about. Retirement is a time when we follow our passions. There are a lot of things which we have in our hearts. At some point of time, we want to do it. But the job pressures, the pressure of having an EMI and paying that monthly payment to the bank, it does not get people to retire because of that fear that what will happen to all that. But once all that is taken care, then we need to follow our passion and then we can really enjoy the life. And then the work doesn't seem to be work. I mean, right now, though I'm retired, I must be actually working more number of hours than I used to work when I was actually in a professional environment. One of my clients, as an example, he wants to be a farmer because that's what his goal is. But he's working in a software industry. So I'm working with him how he can achieve his passion.
That's one side, very rightly said. I met one of my friends. He met me after a few years after retirement. And he said, I felt miserable and depressed. He said this after a few months after retirement. So there starts the other side of story. I read a sentence in your book where you write, this book is for those who have retirement at the back of their mind. What if it comes just in front of you? You taking it easily, well, I'll get my pension and retire. And suddenly it comes and fall in front of you. And as Mr. Shekhar, one of my friends, said, you know, he said, now I feel I don't matter. So, uh, I mean, how practical or realistic this thought is that I'll retire and then it will be much better things to happen.
Well, you've given the example of the government sector. I wouldn't want to restrict on that. But since I have been on the private sector the whole life earlier, when I was working, private sector employees also have a challenge. That's a challenge of a very different kind. Private sector, at times, people are working 15 to 16 hours every day, and work becomes their activity. And then they get so much bored at times with the work. There's so much of stress, etc. They just say, I want to retire and do nothing. So,
Right.
so then
Very true.
when I talk to people, some of them say that, I like traveling and I'll go for a holiday. My immediate next question is, how long? You like that for 6 months, 1 year, maybe 2 years? After that, the boredom is going to come, especially when you have worked so hard. Then the boredom is going to come and you need to figure out what you want to do that time, because you may have a lot of money that time, but internally you will not be a happy person because of that boredom. Similarly, a lot of people have got a very high status when they are working. It could be the designation what they've got, and we all know the respect is always for the chair, it is not for a person. And a person may get very used to that people are respecting him or her, and then after a point of time when the person has retired, suddenly nobody even wants to talk to them. So then that actually starts then hitting people, in terms of, have I become so worthless? that now nobody wants to talk to me. So it's very important not to get those thoughts in our mind. And that is why being able to figure out what makes us happy and then continue to do that. We may not still want to work that 15, 16 hours, which I mentioned, in the private sector, what people have been working. Maybe you want to work, say, 3 days a week, or maybe say 5 hours every day. Then it can be planned, but something what you really enjoy, we should be there more as a consultant or as a part-time person who's respected for the experience the person has got.
So in that sense, what you thought uh, and what you were missing when you were in service, and therefore you thought of this early retirement. So now after that, how do you see retirement? Is it freedom? Is it another way of life, or is it a challenge? Because sometimes what we think and what is the aftermath is something different.
I would say it's a mix of everything. I wouldn't say it's all good everywhere. Why? Because earlier I was working for someone, so I knew that if I can complete that work, I'm going to get my salary, my check. And there are no other tensions associated other than doing the jobs. Of course, some kind of politics, etc., can be there within organizations, but then life was relatively free from that perspective. Now the fact that I'm doing things on my own, I need to take care of everything. I need to take care of technology, I need to take care of my work, I need to take care of of audits, income tax, etc. Everything I am responsible for. So that's an added responsibility which has come up. But having said that, now what I'm doing, I'm enjoying, because whatever I do now has also got added responsibility onto it, because now it is the lives of people who can get impacted. They are trusting their money with me. When I'm doing their investments, if things don't go well, then their future can get impacted. So that has put additional pressure on me in terms of doing the right things for people. While I enjoyed doing things, what I'm doing just now, but I also know any wrong action can impact people's family. So it's a mix of everything. I wouldn't say that things are completely free and I'm happy and that things are going all very well. There are these kind of things I need to be aware of. But at the end of the day, it's a satisfaction which is getting me to keep on going. And of course, now there is no retirement age as such, which earlier we have it as 58 or 60 years. Now, what I'm doing, I'm enjoying it, so I can continue till the time I want